everyone, it's Ari the Detox Diva, and today I'm going to focus on sharing, really, because it's important to it's important for me that everybody knows where I'm coming from in this grand scheme of health and wellness. Why do I do what I do? Why do I feel it's important for everyone to be as healthy and alkaline and hydrated and vitalized as possible? During my meditation and prayer this morning, it dawned on me that this is the 15th year since my diagnosis of multiple sclerosis. And although I really thank God for the diagnosis because it gave me a sense of discernment and enabled my common sense to know that I am a regenerative being. 2001, take you back there. I had just graduated from high school. I just finished running the LA Marathon. I had a scholarship for it. Everything was well and good. I was in my first semester of Howard University. And in 2001, as we can historically remember, that was the year of 9/11. And so I literally saw the Pentagon burning from my window. Highly stressful situation. I'm out there by myself. Of course, I had my dorm mates and everything, but I was not home. I was coming from California to DC, brand new place. What do I do? I'm completely out of control, losing my mind. And within the next couple of weeks, I stayed in school. Within the next couple of weeks, I found that my vision became blurry to the point where I was diagnosed as clinically blind. So I went back home for a little while just to figure things out. Went to Kaiser, and the one thing that I remember out of that whole how would I even describe it? It was a surreal time because I'm 18, I have the world ahead of me, and then I'm told, well, you have multiple sclerosis. First of all, I didn't know what that was. I didn't know how long I would have it. I didn't know if it was curable, if it was not. What do I take for it? And the doctor, he had on his white coat and his stethoscope, and he had his glasses on, partially balding. I can remember this day like it was yesterday. And he could not answer my question. I asked him, okay, since he had already scheduled for me to have a stent placed in my spine and have all these other tests run on me, and he gave me this whole list of things to look forward to or not to look forward to. I would be on a walker, a cane, or even having need of a wheelchair at some point. So based on that promise of inability to care for myself in so many terms and lack of quality of life, I said no. My grandfather was there sitting right to my right, and he was rubbing my back. I'm crying profusely. You're talking to a child who doesn't know what's going on. All they've known through their life is that everything's gonna be okay. But then you're telling me that my body is attacking itself, which I in turn became very grateful for the diagnosis because I saw it as instead of being a victim of myself, I began to see my story over time as a vehicle for insight, encouragement, and inspiration for others to listen to our bodies, because our bodies don't, we don't attack ourselves. We attack our bodies with the choices we make, the people we hang out with. Like, it all matters. Environment, everything matters when it comes to how we deal with this gift we have called life. I was because I said no to the doctor, because him telling me that I would be on steroids for the rest of my life, or could not give me an end date. Usually the doctor says, okay, well, take this for 2 to 3 weeks. Call me, make sure everything's okay. He couldn't give me an end time. All he could tell me was that I would be disabled severely, probably by this time. Thank God it's not the case. And I say all that to say that my focus was redirected into the perspective going from medication to healing and regeneration. We're regenerative beings. So the easiest way to explain it is we are cellular structures, right? With common sense. We all have this gift of common sense. It's up to us to use it. And every hour, every day on the hour, every hour, we are losing up to 1 billion cells per hour. And in turn, they're being regenerated, they're being replaced. And we're losing these cells by way of our channels of elimination, whether we're sweating, we have to go to the bathroom, our liver and kidneys are going through things to make sure that everything's going well. And so we lose these cells, but when we are building or rebuilding these cells, what are they filled with? You know, and when I'm saying cells, I'm saying our blood, I'm saying our organs, I'm saying our bones. We are cellular creatures with common sense. So in the scheme of building bones and getting everything together, it's very important that we refuel our systems with things that our body recognizes as whole foods. And that's where I come from when I stress the importance of being happy, of being well, being alive, of being rested and hydrated. All these things do matter when it comes to our daily activities. Let's see here. Yeah, we understand, and I say understand all the time, but it's important that we get it. You know, we regenerate cells. We are miraculous beings made by God. We are the pinnacle of his crowning glory. Really, we are. And it's important that we treat ourselves as that. So when we go into a restaurant, and I'll even go back to when I was in school. I was my first semester. I did end up going back, graduated in 4 years. I didn't use it as an excuse. I did not. That's one thing. I never use my dis-ease or my diagnosis as an excuse not to live. So with that diagnosis, I went back to school and I was placed on an herbal regimen to clear my cells, to clear the cell debris, and I regained my vision. It's been 15 years. I have not had to use what the doctor promised, the walker, the cane, the wheelchair, all that nonsense. I didn't accept it as final word because I'm God's child first, you know? And I do understand that the doctor is doing his job and he's practicing medicine. So if in 2 years, X, Y, and Z are to happen, and it actually happens in 1 year, that means that he's going to scratch that off and let's try it this another way with this next patient. It's practice. And once we see it as that, like I said, he's doing his job and he's getting paid very well. In fact, once I finished with the doctor, I was encouraged to join a group of people for support. And what stuck out to me was that with every invitation, there was also a small pamphlet for the next medication to be advertised for multiple sclerosis. And when I say multiple sclerosis, I am saying any other disease that we have been bombarded with so many names for things going on with our body, when our body is just throwing out alarms like, okay, take care of me first. Take care of me. Take care of you. Take care of me. Take care of me. Take care of your gift. And I've used the analogy before about the cars and the fuel that we put in them. We have diesel, we have 87, we have 89, we have 91. I don't know a person who, and although diesel usually is cheaper, I don't know one person who would put diesel in their car. Why? Because your car is not built to perform on diesel fuel. Same thing when we go into the store, and it may seem so much more convenient to buy a 20 piece of chicken for $1. Yeah, it sounds good, and we save money, but it's an investment, and I cannot stress that enough. We are worth the investment. We are worth eating well. We're worth organic products that our bodies recognize as whole foods. And it is stressful to go to the doctor and get these diagnoses, and a lot of times, because we trust the doctor, it's hard to negate what he prescribes for us to do. But it's up to us to stay healthy. Our health is our responsibility to keep up, not anyone else's. Everyone has a day where they'll go on and not be here on this earth realm anymore. And when that time comes, our maker will not ask the doctor about you. It will be you. You are responsible for your own health. So knowing that chemicals do not digest well in the system, knowing that our bodies were made to be primarily plant-based, even remembering back in the day how if you couldn't catch it, you couldn't eat it. But then we have this mass production of foods where we can eat meat every day. We can eat pastas and breads and all these things every day. And part of that regeneration of healthy cells has a lot to do with putting the right fuel / foods in our body systems. So just looking at the perspective on health, seeing ourselves as worthy of eating the best at all times. I remember, being on campus, and I'm at the cafeteria, and if anybody has ever been to a cafeteria, you don't have always the best of choices. So you do have to choose the best with what you have or what's being offered. So even now, I have gone to restaurants and I look through the menu 3 and 4 times, maybe even 5, just in case I get lucky. And I'm asked, okay, ma'am, well, what would you like to order? Tea? I'll order tea. I will order tea because there's nothing I see on that menu that is going to serve my body. Tea, hot water, and a tea bag. That is all that I'm going to have right now. And it's not about being up here and everybody else. It's just, I know my body and I have to still be in a social setting. So I'll have something to sip on. I won't just sit there with nothing there. But, it can be socially awkward at times to have a quote unquote healthy diet. But as we grow in our understanding of foods and how they are to serve us, I pray that it will become easier to encourage others as we go and develop in our health quest, because we're all on a quest for health. It's not about, well, you got to die sometime. Yeah, we're all going to pass at some time one day. It's all about the quality of life, though. So I would much rather have a high quality of life eating my sprigs and it's not necessarily a bad thing, because you can make things very tasty. I have had to develop recipes where I mix in this instead of that, or that instead of this, and people taste it and they really don't notice the difference because it's flavorful. So you have your sea salt, you have your Bragg's amino acids, which offset the salts, and you have your herbs and spices, and all of these things, when you're using your herbs and spices, actually are part of the healing process. Because when you use, say, turmeric, that is lowering your inflammation. It's an anti-inflammatory herb. That's just one. And again, I always encourage people to invest time and energy into researching everything that you have. If you see something online, you see maybe palm oil or coconut oil or olive oil, look into it. Please, always look into it. We are not defenseless. Why? Because we were put on this earth with the option of utilizing our common sense. So that's basically it. Let's just know that involuntarily we regenerate cells. That's happening right now. I'm letting go of cells, and I'm going to regenerate more, and what I use is what is, God willing, best for me. I recognize that every 90 days I regenerate new blood. Every 9 months I have new organs. Every 2 years I have new bones. Like, I'm a regenerative being. So if I have the coffee and bagel every single morning for 2 or 3 years, then I am full of caffeine, which in many instances, if it's not organic, can be inflammatory. Then you have your creams and everything. And this is a process. You don't wake up one day and just become vegan or become pescatarian or any of these other names that we're giving. Is what we're on the quest for health. I'll be the first one to admit that the hardest thing for me to give up was milk. I was a cereal kid. I was a bottle baby. I couldn't get over it. I loved my milk. And when I was told during my introduction to herbs that I would have to give up milk, can I live? I mean, like, milk? Like, I'm supposed to drink milk because I see the commercials and it gives me my calcium and my vitamin D and all these other things. So I had an issue with that until I learned and opened up my scope for receiving knowledge that milk is for the bulk of the calf. The calf is going to be a ton eventually, and it is not molecularly structured for me to process. So I'm drinking in all this milk, and it tastes good, and I add sugar to this and that, and at the end of the day, what happens when it gets cold? I have congestion and I'm runny nose and this mucus that's trying to escape. All this is mucus that's trying to escape. And that is part of the inflammation. Our bodies are sending out these alarms and signals like, okay, slow down something, but we don't look at it that way because we have all these medications to suppress and hold down our symptoms, when our symptoms should be seen as our body calling out for, okay, let's redirect, let's look at things differently, let's put in something else. So I was walking around with a lot of mucus, And I go back and recognize after 15 years of this diagnosis that this mucus was in my head, and could very well have been the reason for the blockage of my vision temporarily. Then the stress of 9/11 onset and did some crazy stuff because of environment. Now I am setting off these alarms in my system like, okay, Hari, all right. Now these things have to be contained and controlled. So had I gone on those medications, it would not have healed me. It would have suppressed my symptoms. I probably would have been okay for some time because that is it. But then I have side effects. God, how many of us have seen the commercials where, okay, have you taken XYZ? If so, please call 88888. Pains are us because you're eligible for a settlement. No, I don't want to be reactive. I want to be proactive with my health. And again, that is my responsibility. And once we see it that way, we'll look at food differently. We'll look at our friends differently. Cleansing should be seen mentally, physically, socially. You can let go of a whole lot of hours of stress. You can let go of a whole lot of pounds of friends because they don't serve you. So in this quest for health, it can seem isolated at times, and even I want to incite prevention. Although I was 18, and usually the persons who get diagnosed with multiple sclerosis are much older, I still am thankful for the diagnosis because it gave me 15 years of learning myself. And I can't be any more thankful for that, because that's a gift. To learn myself is priceless. And to keep myself first and true to myself at all times, that it's priceless. So like I said before, keep you first. Stay well by any means necessary. Cleanse regularly. And when I say regularly, once every season change, we should be on some type of cleanse. Whether it is switching our milks out, which I'll go back to that. I went from the milk, and then I was told I couldn't drink milk anymore. Then I went to soy milk. I only did that because it was a texture thing. I wasn't ready for rice milk because it was too thin at the time, and I didn't quite know how to make almond milk, which is very easy to do so. And I'll create a ingredients list for you to make your own almond milk, which is actually quite yummy. And there was just a lot of substitution for the things that I was having, and it took time, and it still can be a challenge at times because I am surrounded by things that are not necessarily the best of my interest. And when I say challenge, I'm challenged with choice. I can go this way or I can go that way. It's never good or bad. It's just a matter of us understanding the power that we have in ourselves to choose health. We choose health. I wake up and I meditate and I pray and I choose health. So when I start my day that way, and it's a beautiful thing, when I start my day that way, then I can go here and I can go there and I can make the best choice depending on the options that I have. and be mindful if I choose something that's subpar, and know how to rebalance my body just based on what I've gained in knowledge by now, which is something I plan to and hope that I am doing well so far in sharing with you. So that's just about it. Of course, visit soultosoulmd.com. It's Ari the Detox Diva, and I'll see you soon. Thanks.